Hello there, this is ShowdonPrepper. Little Nazi too. It's difficult how to say this, but I was a smoker for 22 years. Now 2 years ago I started vaping. The reason I started vaping was because I couldn't keep on smoking. I was in and out of hospital, had severe asthma. I basically was not surviving, and I had to do something. Now my dad suggested to me that we go to a vape shop, and actually that was a really good idea for me. I was like, yeah, I'm up for that, let's go. So we go to this vape shop and meet a guy called Neil. We went to this place called Valley Vapes. And Valley Vapes, in fact I think I've still got it. Anyway, so at Valley Vapes I get my first vape, and I was able to give up with it straight away. I didn't have a cigarette ever since. Now there's two ways to go about it with vaping. You can either just say, okay cool, I've given up smoking, and hello Nazi, I've given up smoking, great, I'm just going to stay at this level. Now for me, vaping wasn't that. For me, vaping became a hobby, a fascination. So I continued on. I've bought quite a few mods and a few different tanks, and I'm going to talk about one of the devices I've got here. Now I will say the place I bought this from was Gearbest, and the reason I bought it from Gearbest is because it was cheap. If you want to buy this in a shop, it's going to cost you twice the amount. So I bought this from the shop, and it's the eLeaf iStick 100 watt. Looks really simple. See if the menu shows up here. I don't know if it will. And the iStick 100 is really nice because it's small and it's black, so it doesn't stand out too much in a crowd, which I kind of like. I think I paid something in the region of £21 for this. In US dollars, I think that would be somewhere in the region of $28, maybe 29. They may have gone up a little bit, but not by much. And this mod uses two 18650 batteries. You do need to buy the 18650 batteries separate, and on top of here is a tank. The reason I like this tank is because it's an RDA, which means I can make my own coils and I make my own juice, and that way I'm not reliant on other people. As a prepper, I honestly feel that everybody should be able to make their own stuff. Now the tank will cost you about £30, which is about $39 I think, maybe 40, and the setup on the juice would cost you about £100. But once you've got that set up, then you're probably talking around a couple of quid a month for your vaping, which is a massive saver. I mean, if you're buying a juice, then it's cheaper than cigarettes, but it's not that much cheaper. But if you're making your own juice, then you can save an awful lot of money, and you can also have reliance. And the best thing about this is that I haven't been in hospital ever since. I'm not reliant on inhalers anymore. I was reliant on inhalers for most of my adult life. Well, since I was about 11 I've been on inhalers, and at this point I do not need to use inhalers. 22 years of smoking, 2 years are not on these, and I suddenly go from heavily dependent on asthma medication, the purple inhaler, the blue inhaler, and loads and loads of prednisone, to a couple of quid a month on this. The features of the iStick 100 watt are the following. Number 1, it's a 100 watt mod. Number 2, it is a temperature control mod, which means that if you want to use temperature control wire, then you can make it so it doesn't ever give you a dry hit. It has temperature control in stainless steel, nickel and titanium. I don't use that feature. I just use Canthal, which is the cheapest of the wires. But I've got a bit of a jazzy one by using Clapton's. The running cost in materials is your Clapton wire, also available on GearBest. I think it's about £4 or something, and that will last you a year. The cotton, you can buy it like this for about £5 to £10 depending, and that will last you a year. Or you can buy something like this, which is cotton bacon, which is a nicer cotton, which will cost you about £7, and that lasts you about 4 months. The juice is made up of PG, VG, your flavourings and your nicotine. And the nicotine you don't use very much of, and a small bottle like that will last me a good year. The PG and VG is the majority of what you use, mostly VG and some PG. VG is vegetable glycerine, and that's used in food ingredients. PG, which is actually used in inhalers as the inert carrier of the reliever, doesn't actually contain an active ingredient. It's also used in food and ice creams and things like that. And then you got your food flavourings that are all present in food, and then you got your nicotine, which isn't actually harmful for you, it's just addictive. In my case, I'm on 1 milligram nicotine. When I first started, I was on 21 milligram nicotine. The iStick 100 watt I like because I do not need any more power than that, and I'm not going to need more power than that likely in the near future. Whereas if you go for a mod that has less power, then you'll want to replace it relatively quickly if you decide to go down the hobby approach, and where some people will have the little pens and that will be all they need for giving up smoking. That wasn't the case for me. I was a very heavy smoker, and this has taken over as my mouth, hand to mouth thing. It gives me as much, a lot more satisfaction than a cigarette ever could, and the flavours are great. At the moment I make a juice with strawberry, dragon fruit and banana, and that gets me off the fags. And as I say, 2 years I've been off them, and I smoked for 22 years, and I never thought I'd be able to quit. Since vaping instead of smoking, I've managed to lose 5 stone in weight, not because of the fact that I'm not smoking, but because it gave me so much confidence to go and do other things, like giving up lots of food groups, giving up coke, getting more active. And because I've had more ability to breathe, I've been able to do things like go on longer walks and exercise a lot more with my lovely dog Nazi. In summation, I would say that you couldn't go far wrong with the iStick 100 watt. You do need to buy two 18650s, and battery safety, number 1. If these things are damaged, the wrappings on these are damaged, get rid of them. Do not use them. They can and will explode. The wrappings are essentially important that they maintain the cover over the battery, because if your positive and your negative connect, say the positive here is frayed, then a piece of metal could easily contact that and it will cause a short, and that's when you get an explosion. Just like if you're trying to dig out an iPhone battery and you touch it with metal, then suddenly you get an explosion. Secondly, always use 18650s that are rated for 35 amps or greater. The reason you need 35 amps or greater is because torch batteries generally can only go up to about 1 or 2 amps, maybe 3 amps at most. And if you use e-cigarette with one of those batteries, it's going to be pulling more charge than it can give out, and then yes, that one can explode as well, and that's quite common. The other thing is, never have these batteries outside of a mod or outside of a carry case like this. These are massively important. These carry cases stop your batteries from making contact with your change, your knife, whatever is in your pocket. It stops them from shorting out. That is so vitally important. As for your tanks, if you're a beginner vapor, just thinking of starting, then what you want to use is something like this. Even. This is the Kangatech Sub-Tank Plus. Will you zoom in? There we go, zoom in. Right, the advantage of this is that it can take coils you can buy, so while you're learning to vape and learning everything there is to know about vaping, you can use these. They fit in very easily. And all you do is you take out the RDA section, rebuttable section. You take the bort coil, and screw it in like this. And you take your tank, you fill it with juice down the side. You take your coil that you've wetted, we'll put e-juice all over it, screw it back together, screw it on your mod, and then vape. Now if you start making your own coils, you will need to use something like Steam Engine, which is a website. The website there is designed purely to learn how to build your coils to the right level. So you may decide you want a 1 ohm coil or a 0.5 ohm coil. The coils you buy to start with will often be 1.5, 1.2, or they can be 0.5. What the general thing is to make maybe a 1 ohm coil. The wire you'll want to buy so I'm not very organised at all. If you want to use Clapton wire, you can get that from GearBest, which is this stuff here. Shot maybe out of focus. Oh. Never mind. They have camper wire, or you can get a whole range of wires with a wire box like this. Now, you may think that it's terrible I buy all these Chinese things, but simply put, if you want to spend 5 times the amount to buy in the UK or the US, then fine. The home markets for some of this stuff is not developed. Definitely the mods are, tanks are, but things like wire, you can buy some, but it's not easy to get, and it's not always identified as the country of origin. In this case, it is a good idea to just get the Chinese stuff. It's a lot cheaper, and it's built to the similar sort of quality. Anything else? I'm going to take you a bit closer to the iStick so you can hopefully see it a bit clearer. One moment. Right, this is the iStick 100 watt. Now you can see you can change the wattage very easily, and by pressing this button here you can change the function it's in. whether it's the nickel. If I can zoom in a bit. Doesn't help much, does it? Right, so there you go, nickel, titanium, stainless steel, memory functions, so you can memorise the temperatures you want to use, or if you like me, just have it in wattage mode. So this does go all the way to 100 watts. There you go, nice and quickly, although I run this around 50 watts. Right, show you the batteries, how they fit in and out. See, I'm doing this one-handed, holding the camera with the other hand. Still very easy to do. To the battery compartment. Now, this can run on 118/650. I wouldn't recommend it because you won't get the same power. But if you run it with 118/650, you have to use the battery on the side where the, I think it's the side where the tank is. To fit them back on again. It's nice and easy. Let's go back to normal view. Right. See, there's plenty of power in this, and you're never going to have an issue with this. As far as I'm concerned, it seems to be a perfectly good bit of kit. And I've been using this for about 3 months now, and there's no way I'd want to get rid of this. And if this one did break, I would definitely buy another. Well, thank you, YouTube. You have a great evening now. ShowdonPrepper out.